Hello, and welcome to the Sad Dads Club podcast. Here's everybody's favorite sad dads, Jim and Foo.
It's not sweet, like some lemon things. It's like still that sort of bitter.
I haven't consumed it.
Oh, you got to try it straight.
Outside with putting it in something. I've only consumed it mixing it with, and I did the same thing.
You didn't try it before you I'm going to taste it to see what it's like before
No, I shot half a shot, dumped it in the cup, put the lemonade in it.
What the fuck?
Because I did it with this. Fuck yeah. That's just balls out, bro. I did the same because I bought the, I was going down the aisle.
The limoncellos?
No, it was the, there's a pink grapefruit one.
Oh.
I bought.
You're going to put that in there?
No, I bought the pink grapefruit vodka one, and I bought some Fever Tree sparkling pink grapefruit. Will had brought him for whatever his mixed drink was, the margaritas, or whatever he mixed it in. So I had pink grapefruit sparkling Fever Tree and this Eddie pink grapefruit flavored vodka, and one of those, shot, half, pound. Yeah, that's pretty good. And then when I was at the grocery store with Venus, I'm like, fuck it. Well, I'm not even out of the pink grapefruit shit, but the lemon is still here. And Dave said he couldn't find it. So fuck it, I'm buying it now. What would I mix this in? Lemonade. Absolutely.
Okay, so I would imagine like Total Wine or somebody has that, but the only place where I found it was at Target. Is that where you got it?
No, I was at Rayleigh's.
Oh, Rayleigh's.
And they have it's in a bottle. I would prefer it if it was smaller.
You want a bigger bottle? So you can drink straight out of the bottle?
No, I would prefer if it was
bigger bottle?
Smaller. Smaller. You fucking
Why?
with me.
Why you want smaller?
Because then I wouldn't feel like such a fucking alcoholic buying two. I have two vodka bottles.
Wait. You bought 2 bottles, but you want one smaller bottle?
Yes.
You're confusing me.
I would rather have smaller single serving size ones so that they probably would come in like a 4-pack or 6-pack. So I could be like, oh, it's done and gone. But instead, I've got this albatross of a giant ass bottle, like siren calling me, hey, are you an alcoholic?
Yeah, now you know how I feel because I took home that giant bottle of Sailor Jerry.
Oh, yeah.
Which I've hardly made a dent. And the huge bottle of vodka. The Grass Valley one.
Yuba River? It was Yuba. South Fork.
South Fork vodka. That stuff's delicious, by the way. I'd already had it, yes. I bought a bottle of that. They're from Grass Valley.
Well, yeah, Yuba Fork, dumbass.
And they were in Safeway. Like one of the guys that works there was actually in Safeway, like pimping it.
Oh.
He was like, yeah, this is our... And we're like, shit, I work in Grass Valley. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm going to buy one. So I bought one, and that stuff is smooth.
I'm from here. It's like, bitch, I've hiked along this river. Like, is this in any way related to the nudist colony people that I used to gawk at as a young teenager?
I mean, apparently their bottling facility or whatever is up by the airport there in Grass Valley.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's fucking convenient because then shipping.
Yeah, just like, put it on a
plane and boop, fucking gone.
Right, yeah.
Hey.
Put it on a Coast Guard cutter and get it out of there.
That's the airport.
Right, that's what I said.
Right. It's landlocked.
I was just seeing how...
There's a reservoir.
I was seeing if you needed another drink. So apparently
I can't get up now. It's too late. And if I got up, I'd probably decork and make potty, but I'm not. We'll see how long it stretches.
Decork. Because... potty wasn't the thing I was thinking of when you said decork.
Yeah, what?
I'm just, never mind.
Right.
Anyway, welcome to the show.
Hey, it's Sad Dads Club Podcast, episode 147.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I'm the Lord Foo.
I'm Jim, and welcome.
I have a craptastic amount of shit to cover.
Let's get to it. Start.
Okay.
Start right now. Don't make haste.
No, hey, okay, wait.
Wait, make haste. Is that
okay? So,
is it make haste or don't?
Yeah.
Don't waste
like
any
Robin
time.
Hood, Prince of Thieves, Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
Make haste.
Does that mean quick?
Begin your rapid movement. Okay. So, Okay.
My lord.
All right. What is it? So, and when Ted gets here, he'll be like, dude, I know that one.
I know that.
He'll be like that Leonardo DiCaprio meme where he goes, okay.
For the king.
For the king. I know that game. I played that game. So going into the weekend after we recorded the last show, Venus, the kids, and Piper's boyfriend, they went to the coast to spend time with, on the coast with Venus's mom.
To spend time with like the starfish and stuff?
Right. You know, the chocolate ones.
Right. Oh, God.
Okay. So, we're out here now. It's too late. Okay. So, they left Thursday day, but after we recorded the show, Jax, going into the morning, he starts going into like what you and I as a parent would recognize as probably like the croup or a bronchitis with the kids. And it goes through bulk of the night. Now, like we've covered many times on the show before, the dogs sleep on the bed. So when I've got a dog that's sleeping on the bed that's got a problem, it immediately impacts me because it's probably something that's either physically adjacent or certainly audible adjacent, and I cannot escape it.
Hey, sleep better.
I know, right?
Just close your eyes and go to sleep.
So we kind of played off like maybe he ate as we went through the morning.
I'm picturing Christmas Vacation in my mind.
Yeah. We had started to play it off as like he had probably eaten a napkin or a wet wipe or a piece of toilet paper or something that he absolutely positively shouldn't have, that I will absolutely positively not look forward to pulling out of his asshole in 24 to 48 hours time.
Yeah.
And that's how we kind of, like he was gagging on it and it hadn't quite made it all the way down. Except about 10 hours late afternoon, Shiny starts doing the same thing. So then it's like, okay, well, Shiny doesn't eat napkins or paper towels or anything like that. So then it's most likely that they've got a virus or a bacterial infection.
Doggy corona.
Right.
Doggy coronavirus.
Could certainly be.
Yeah.
So we make it through.
They're hanging out at the clubs too much.
No, I think that was just about it. As we gotten into Thursday evening, so we got one whole night after the show. Both dogs hacking up a lung while we're trying to sleep. Now, you as a parent and anyone else who's listening, who has also been a parent or been around an infant for any length of time, there is something that starts to trigger you as a parent who's been around an infant or a toddler when they start to gag. Like it is like one of those inherent net new parent traits, like you are instantly aware because it's like, I have to clean up puke.
Yeah.
Or there is baby spittle somewhere. A mess has to be cleaned up.
Is it going to be projectile or
right.
not?
Now, this is like a agnostic of animal genus species thing. If you hear gagging and you have been around, you've picked up this trait, it is like eyes wide open, something is gagging. I'm going to have to clean up puke kind of a thing. So when the dogs in my bed are gagging, I don't get sleep because my parental dad brain says, someone's going to puke in your bed. And since the dogs are laying up against me, someone's going to puke on your balls. It is unnerving.
Yeah.
No sleep. So as we got to, as the Venus and the kids and everyone was starting to leave, it was like, well, one, I'm working, so I wasn't going anyway. But I was absolutely drained. It was pretty much 2 nights where I wasn't getting any sleep because the first night Jax was gagging somewhere after 2 a.m. And then what would be Wednesday going into Thursday evening, both dogs start gagging in the bed, and it was just like, I can't. And at that point, I think
sounds like an orgy.
Thursday morning, both Venus and I, at somewhere around 5:30 to 6, we're just like, fuck it, I'm done. Like, this is pointless.
I'm going to get up and make a cup of coffee.
Exactly. She got up. I think she sat down on the couch for a while, and I just went, well, I've got change controls and early work anyway. I'm just going to work now. And at some point, I think I went out, and she had finally passed back out. I mean, she was sleep deprived anyway, and she was going to have to make the drive down to Casper Beach.
Yeah.
So she needed to get some rest. Right. And with Jax, who was follow me to the office and then gag in the office, I was fine. Shiny was like gag light, I guess it would be. Yeah. So she got some sleep. But I was certainly concerned because of the deprivation that she was going to have to make a drive. I was happy that she got a little bit of something.
The back end of that drive from here is a very twisty road.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're tired at all,
yeah, it's no bueno.
That would
like
be no good.
You want to be well rested for that drive.
Yeah.
So that took us what would have been, and we had many jokes. It was what would have been me alone in the house for the bulk of the weekend to do
Masturbation City.
Single dude shit. Now, hey, if you're the kids and you're finally getting to this episode and you're like, and now we're out here, we're airing it out. Because bottom line is, hey, I got nothing else to do and I'm here alone. Fucking, you pull up a good video and you fucking slap some out and it's good to go. Like, oh, hey, no shame. There's no one else is here. Except when you're so fucking tired. And even if you get something queued up, you hear it pulls you out of the mood, man. You could be mid-stroke, and this shit's just not gonna happen. so you just
sounds like a 70s orgy.
Yeah,
very hairy.
Yeah, hey, fuck! Good God, man! Like. No, you gotta keep that shit clean. Anyway,
Jesus.
So this shit just didn't. I mean, nothing went the way.
Yeah.
And then it was like, I'm concerned for the dogs because it's like,
yeah.
You know. So Friday.
I mean, how dare you think about yourself?
I know. Like the one moment, it's like, hi, I had to work. Anyway,
you'd probably been looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I was going to try and beat a record or beat a meet, but I mean, I never got the chance.
I got a couple extra boxes of Kleenex. I'm just saying.
I mean, you know, just keep the shower running and let's go. Shit, it didn't happen. Then I started getting over anxious about whether or not the dogs were going to need something. We had just, like I said with Jax, we have just come out of surgery with him to get a precancerous mass removed. He finally came out of that. His drains had to go longer than expected. He now pisses on his feet because his cock is
rubber banded the other direction.
Sutured 3 inches to the right, and he still doesn't realize that when he lifts and goes right, it's like 1.5 foot. I mean, the way trajectory works, now he's pissing like 1.5 foot higher. But if he lifts the other way, he pisses all over his like left front foot. It's just a mess. We had finally come out of the woods on that, and now both dogs come down with this like thing, and so I'm just like, I just don't want to pay another vet bill.
Right.
Like, please.
Right.
But as we got into Friday, I think that had been like a total of 48 hours for both dogs. We had pretty much like weeded out that neither dog would have eaten something at the same time because Shiny's habits and Jax's habits are not the same. So this was likely something that they were illness that they were sharing between the two. I touched base with Kim, who has vet, hashtag HiCam, vet experience. She had pretty much explained, these are things to look for. Watch your eating, drinking habits, lethargy, whatnot. Everything looked good. But as we got into Friday, I was starting to get like concerned about, I don't want to have to be put in a position where a vet bill, because I have to take them in because things got sideways even further on a weekend. I'd be taking them what would be the pet ER. And now I'm like racking up another $1,000 bill or more because it's both dogs, not just one dog.
Do they need antibiotics? What?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But Kim then, like late in the day, bless her heart, she's like, hey, just checking in again. Like, how are the dogs? I touch base. Like, here's the things that I'm seeing. Me being me, I'm like super data driven, so I'm like keeping tabs on like behavior. They are eating. I feed them. I fed them normally. I didn't really do anything out of the ordinary. They were drinking normally. They would go out inside and go potty. Nothing. They weren't secreting snot or goops anywhere. They were just hacking up a lung like they had
mucus or something,
bronchitis, kind of a thing. Like, but obviously the concern with whatever they may have is that they develop pneumonia as a byproduct of not being treated properly. So I have Venus call the vet late Friday to like, hey, just to avoid a weekend super fucking massive punch bill, like touch base with the vet, email. I'll record them coughing if they need it to help give us perhaps like an unbilled assessment of what would be needed. Touch base with the vet. The vet says pretty much at this point it's viral. It's a cold. They'll get sick, but especially if it's being shared between the two. Anywhere between 8 to 14 days is kind of like the average. So you've got time.
Yeah.
And so then I'm like looking at my like jerk schedule for the rest of the weekend going, well, that's fantastic.
Because not getting any sleep.
Yeah, I'm not getting any sleep. B, fucking it's, we've already covered it.
Right.
Just rewind this about a minute and a half to 2 and then you'll hear we're
right back at it.
Yeah, we're right back at it. It's good. We've covered it. And so, obviously it was just here's what to be watching out for. If they start having like colored snot coming out of their nose kind of thing, then it's bacterial. We'll put you on antibiotics. But as it stands, what you're describing, what you're seeing, viral, they've got a cold, write it out. Which is, from a monetary standpoint, I'm like, thumbs up. But also, I'll be honest, from like a peace of mind thing, I'm like, okay. One, I'm no longer expecting either of them to hack up a sock or someone's thong or something. Who knows? I don't know. I mean, it wouldn't shock me.
I hope it wasn't yours.
A jerk sock? Who knows? And you're like, hey, what's in here? Or a paper towel or 2 feet of paper towels. Fantastic. So Friday night was like the first night where I kind of went, and plus I was just so fucking drop dead tired. I passed out finally and just went, I'm good. And the gagging that happened in bed was like, I just let it go. I just slept through it. I'm like, it happens.
Well, because you weren't worried about it anymore.
Exactly. So there was once we had touched base with the vet, I'm like, okay, well now I know. If they had a heart attack while they were gagging, that'd be one thing. But I had heard it enough for the last 48 hours at that point where I'm like, I'm good.
The concern was less.
Yeah, I had put a sheet down at the bottom of the bed, so that way I was having to get up less and scrub the carpet from like,
bile or
foam mass as they froth themselves up. So I'm like, I've got towels and shit all over the house on the floor so that I'm having to mitigate how concerned I am that they leave them out. I'm like, I'll just mop it up in the morning. I'm good. Daddy needs to pass the fuck out. And it did. And I was fine.
Well, that's good.
Hey. It was, yeah. Anyway.
Is that the foam for my latte?
Yeah. Did I?
No, that's
that was my Starbucks kind
of dog hat.
Flop. No, it was just dog froth.
Oh, gross.
Right. And yes, I had a number of funny moments in describing like gagging in the bed. with my sister-in-law that was like funny beyond all measure because it's like, hey, it's just not the kind of gagging in bed that I'm used to. Yeah. Hey. And again, I'm sorry, kids, when you get here. I mean, this shit happens.
Just skip ahead 30 seconds.
Yeah, just skip ahead. Sorry, you heard it already, so just don't rewind. Yeah,
man.
Anyway.
Wow.
So they had fun. I nursed gagging dogs for the bulk of the weekend.
That's not the way you want to spend the time that you thought you were going to have to yourself.
No.
Honestly.
No, but
yeah.
they enjoyed themselves.
Yeah.
God, I don't know. Let me know if you've done this. Being a photo guy, so this has happened a couple times when they leave, or even when I'm out of. I don't know if I did it when I've been abroad without the kids before. I will give the kids like because I already told you in Discord, a photo scavenger hunt, and sometimes it's more like a treasure hunt, like a picture with a thing and a thing and a thing, and because it was Piper, Xander, and Nick being Piper's boyfriend. I roped his ass into it. I sent like Saturday or Sunday. I sent them all like a thing. I can't remember what each of them's thing was, but I do recall that Nick's hunt was find me. I think it was something that was broken
in black and white,
and in a black and white tone.
Yeah.
Which I don't think I did for the other kids, but for him, I just figured I'm gonna throw him a curveball right off the bat and give it to me in black and white.
Right.
He sent us a picture of a smart car that had duct tape and a dent on the fender, and it was like fucking 2 thumbs. All right, he gets it. Like, all right. And I think the next day, I think that might have been Friday, Saturday. I was a lot like, how did this go over? Like, is everybody okay?
Yeah.
Listen, I like the boyfriend, but if he's like, this is juvenile.
Fuck that guy.
I'd be like, well, fine, I'm going to stop sending you shit.
I'm on vacation.
Right. I didn't want to embarrass my daughter.
Right.
And I don't want to be like treating him like a juvenile either. I would have stopped. I'm like, hey, Piper said that he thought it was really cool and he was waiting for the next day's shit. I can't remember what I did. I did one for the remainder of the days. It's just really fun. It like keeps the kids, like I don't necessarily helicopter them when they're abroad. Like generally I get something from Venus, like, hey, we're going to bed, but the detachment I feel like is healthy. So I'm going to bed.
Right.
Now if they were to call, I love you, good night, sleep well, that would happen. But these small, like little vacations where we're apart, I almost like, I'll let them go unless they want to communicate, and then we'll touch base elsewhere. But I
get that.
Right.
Yeah.
But the photo thing that I do with them, it's like every day. It's interesting to see the creativity there. I think they came back Monday, and the last project I think I gave Xander. I can't remember Xander's. Piper's was take a picture of someone jumping and catch their feet not on the ground. So I was looking for like a motion jump where they got like a snap with the feet off the ground. Nick's, I remember I said, take a picture of someone running like Naruto. Now, if you're an anime person, it's a specific style of running.
Yeah, arms back.
Right, arms back.
Leaning
And
forward.
If you tracked anything from the whatever it was where we were going to storm Area 51, there was going to be a squad of Naruto runners.
Yeah.
That was the inspiration there. So the best from the communication I got from Piper, he thought it was really interesting. He's like, oh, and he's going to do it like he wanted more. Right. He was encouraged to get one every day to do something. I didn't want it to feel like they had to do it.
Yeah.
But I was also encouraged that, he thought it was fun. It's just a tiny little thing. Anyway, it was fun.
I didn't have much this weekend at all. I didn't do it. I went and got my contact lenses fitted. We went to a birthday party for a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
At a jump place.
Oh. Like a bounce house?
Like over by John's Incredible Universe over there. There's where it used to be a furniture store, but now it's a big jump. They got trampolines inside.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Trampolines? Or like the air?
No, trampolines.
Oh, I love those.
Yeah.
Did you do flips?
I didn't jump.
Come on, fucker.
I'm good. I'm good. But we did that. I just didn't do much at all. It was just like...
You made dip.
I made dip. I smoked some stuff. I smoked the dip. You couldn't taste the smoke.
I'm going to be honest. I could smell it, but I did not taste it.
Okay, that's really weird because I could only really taste it in the artichokes, but I couldn't really taste it in the cheese, which is where I expected it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reason why I was being pretty cautious about how much smoke it got.
Right.
Like I didn't want the smoke to overtake the dip. So I make this, for people not in the know, I make a artichoke dip that people ask me to make, which I think is weird.
Because it's awesome.
It's delicious.
It's tasty as fuck.
It is. It's really good. Really fucking bad for you. But it's really fucking good. And I could taste the smoke. So I made up a tray of it and put it in the smoker for about a half an hour.
Okay.
And then finished it off because we didn't want to heat up the oven in the house. So I finished it off in the grill, just on indirect heat.
Mm-hmm.
Tried to keep it around 350, which is not that easy to do. And just let it cook in there for a while. And it was really good. You could smell the smoke on it really good, but the smoke flavor was very mild.
Yeah.
Which I think was okay, but if you couldn't taste it at all, that's kind of weird. Because we could all kind of taste it a little bit here and there. I don't know if it's maybe like it needed to be stirred while it was in there. I have no idea.
Probably not. I mean, it's probably a palate thing. Like everything I do, I enjoy like a stout smoke.
Right.
And it's like I said, it smelled really good. You could obviously tell from the smell that it had been smoked.
Yeah.
But,
well, I'm thinking it's going to be like, if I do that again, I'll probably do it for an hour. So I'll probably double it up.
Probably.
About the same as what we would do like crackers or whatever at.
Mm-hmm.
Same amount of time, and then finish it off again in the oven because I don't want to smoke it too long. I think the smoke, the smoke has the ability to overpower something like that.
And you put jalapenos in it, right?
Oh, yeah.
So are they pre-jarred pickled jalapenos?
There are canned like chopped jalapeno or diced jalapenos.
Yeah.
And then also there were a couple like diced up.
So I'm still
ones.
bent, and I haven't had an opportunity yet to put in smoked bacon in it.
Oh, yeah. That's right. We did talk about that.
Now, I understand your household, that would probably be problematic.
Yeah.
Unless you made like
two small
batches.
Yeah.
I still think that may be where you may gain if you could smoke it less, but put in
something smoked.
Perhaps if you were to roast your own jalapenos along with some of like the jarred and diced pickled ones. Like roast your own, that may add a smokiness, but not necessarily from smoke.
Yeah.
And then if you were to add smoked bacon or even a little bit of ham, some of the things that you had talked about, it felt like this dip, you and I both went, what else can we fucking do with this? You did.
I made a grilled cheese with it.
Yes. And when I asked you, so what cheese did you put in it? And you're like, none.
The dip.
The dip itself
is the cheese.
And
that was pretty good.
I made, because I had some bacon, but I hadn't smoked it. As I think I returned the dish Sunday?
Yes. Yeah, I think so.
Sunday late afternoon.
Yeah.
And we had also been visited by Mike and Angie, who dropped off a salt that had been infused with all of the peppers that will light you and your anus into the ninth circle of hell.
There's like scorpion peppers,
ghost
X,
peppers,
ghost pepper, yeah.
All of the hot shit
in salt.
In the salt.
And you can smell it, man.
And it was really good. So I returned your glass thing, and then you promptly said, well, would you like more? And, of course, me, being the addict, said, well,
Well, here's a hole in my vein.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to force it down my throat, well, then why not?
Yeah.
Just hold my hair, Daddy, and let's go.
Yeah.
So you backfilled me, and I ended up getting a ribeye to use with the hot salt, which I'll probably cover in the next. So I had more dip.
Yeah.
I think Monday for lunch, I was staring at some of our texts of you making a grilled cheese. I'm like, well, and I've got this bacon. I ended up making we had leftover Roma tomatoes. So I made a bacon dip tomato sourdough sandwich.
Okay.
So no lettuce, but what I would have called a BLT with your dip. So I toasted the bread. Sliced up and filled the whole fucking sandwich full of Roma tomatoes. Heated up the dip.
Yeah.
I drained off a lot of oil because I was like, listen, cardiac arrest.
Right.
I'm just trying to avoid I'd like to see my grandkids at some point. So I drained off some oil and then dabbed the bacon and then put that on there. And that was fucking phenomenal.
Was it good?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Huh,
that's just short of a grilled cheese, but the tomatoes made me feel a little bit better about myself.
Well, here's one of the things I was thinking about doing with it. It's pretty versatile dip.
It is. Fuck.
But I'm thinking about hollowing out some jalapenos and stuffing it with the dip and then wrapping it in bacon. And then,
a jalapeno popper.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, right. The other thing I really like doing with that stuff is just you scoop some into a pan and like get it hot and melty.
Yeah.
And then crack a couple eggs in there and make scrambled eggs with it.
So I did that Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
I heated it in the microwave, drain off some of the oil so I don't hate myself for the calories. I scrambled two eggs, and then because it's already hot, I dumped that into eggs. I was going to put it into like a breakfast burrito, but I just fucking ate it out of yeah.
Didn't even put it on a plate.
There was no shame. Listen, I work early, I work hard, and I was like, I'm going to do rowing later. I'm just eating this right out. I'm not even going to sophisticate myself with that flour tortilla.
Well, I mean, you're supposed to be getting ready for a run.
Right.
So I will not be making any to bring over here for you.
Hey, don't worry about it because
Smoking like a true addict.
Yeah, fucking. Hey, listen, the holes in the veins, we're good to go.
Yeah.
My family
if you're
came
gonna
back.
Make it, just bring it.
Yeah, my family came back from the coast with like a small boutique of fucking little candies. Like all of a sudden, I've got like 2 cups of hot tamales and like a little package of chocolate covered coffee beans. I'm like, man, I'm expected to start fucking running. And everyone brought back candy.
Have you seen the movie Less Than Zero with Robert Downey Jr.?
I don't think so.
Where he is such a coke head that he's blowing guys to get coke.
Oh, really?
I'm expecting that.
Wow. Was it young before Iron Man?
Oh yeah, this was long. This was like in the 80s, late 80s.
I think was
Less
it
Than
a
Zero.
biography? Because I think he was probably actually doing that, wasn't he?
Oh, I'm sure.
Before Iron Man, I think he was.
Oh, it was in the, like I said, late 80s movie. Less Than Zero. You should look it up. It's a dark movie.
Okay.
A lot of, at the time, very popular actors in it.
Okay.
But the story is just dark.
Really?
Yeah. Very interesting. But anyway, look it up if you haven't seen Less Than Zero.
Less Than Zero.
But I'm just picturing you as the Robert Downey Jr. character coming over and being like, I'll suck your dick for some.
Hey, did you make the artichoke dip, buddy? Hey, man. You looking for some fun tonight? You got that artichoke dip? Hey, if you smoked it, I'll put it in your butt. What?
Just leave it greasy.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll pour off some of that grease from the microwave and we'll let it cool off for a couple seconds and we'll just slide into each other like a party.
Oh, my
what?
God.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of what I did. I mean, we swam a little bit.
Okay.
It was a mellow
so
weekend.
I know that. Okay. Going into the weekend, we had a couple new releases. Well, going into the weekend, we had the release of Black Widow, which we won't talk about spoilers.
Oh my god!
But I do have No, we can't. It's probably too early. We can talk about a question that I have for you.
All right.
As someone that has probably watched most recently most of the Marvel story saga.
Yeah.
It's pretty fresh in your mind.
Fairly.
Okay, so I have a think piece for you. Okay, so at the end of Endgame...
Don't expect much then.
Hey. Well, you can phone a friend. At the end, you could take this home for homework too. At the end of Endgame...
okay.
The Captain America, Steve Rogers, has a suitcase full of the stones. And part of the reason why the Ancient One, Tilda Swinton, gives Hulk the Time Stone, she tells him that you can't really take the stones from me because if you do, you start messing up the timeline. And if you keep them, then it creates alternate realities where you fuck everyone else behind you, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But then he says, Doctor Strange gives it the time. She has a moment of pause and she decides, okay, I'll give you the stone. And he says, well, yeah, we'll just return them all back to the place in which we take them so that no one's timeline gets messed up.
Uh-huh.
So that's the promise that he makes her.
Right.
In order to get the time stone from her. So at the end of the movie, Endgame, Captain America has the case full of the stones and the hammer. And it is his job to return all of the stones to the place in which they took them so that they don't ruin the timelines. And he's going to return Thor's hammer, right?
Apparently, he's the only one.
He's the only one. Now, if you recall the Soul Stone in Infinity War, Thanos throws Gamora. If you are this far into this show and listening to this many episodes and you are bitching about spoilers, I'm sorry. Okay.
Just go watch it.
Just go watch the shit. Thanos, in order to earn the Soul Stone, he has to throw something away that he loves to get the Soul Stone. So he throws Gamora off the cliff. He gets a Soul Stone. And then he does a snap, and then he destroys the stones. In Endgame, Black Widow and Hawkeye go to the same planet in order to earn the stone. One of them has to essentially jump off the cliff to earn the Soul Stone.
Right.
And you then see Scarlett Johansson. Black Widow jumps off the cliff, and Hawkeye wakes up with the Soul Stone. So the think piece that I have for you is, how does Captain America return the Soul Stone if what it took to get it was a life?
Can he bring someone back? I don't know.
As far as I know, there is no answer.
Well, I wouldn't expect...
Someone like reporters at some point during the major press junkets for the actual Endgame when it was popular, asked, I think when it got released to digital, they started asking, like, so how did this happen? How does Captain America return a stone that requires a life to get it? Like, does that mean he returns it and that brings Black Widow back? And they give some because I looked.
Yeah,
because
but other people have died. So, but how does it keep getting returned there?
Exactly. I'll admit I had not thought about that in the slightest because they kind of dazzle you with brilliance there at the end of Endgame because they throw the old man Cap and his shield and giving it to Falcon. So you're kind of like, oh, he returned everything, and it wasn't until I had watched the Black Widow movie that just came out where I went, wait, so how does that work? Because the Soul Stone is different from the bulk of the other stones. The Tesseract, Cap could have gotten back into the base, and where Tony took it from his dad at the bottom of the right, he could have just left it on a chair, and someone would have thought, oh, fuck, it came out of the case. Like, someone left this out. Problem solved. He could have left the hammer back in Asgard somewhere, doesn't matter where, and then snuck up on Jane and re-injected her with the shit, and then snapped himself, and then leaped back into time. Time Stone, he could have just gone right back to the top of the building and given it to the Ancient One. So a lot of those, or he could have returned the scepter, or all of these things all have.
They're super easy to get.
But the Soul Stone was unique because it cost something to get it. So how do you return it?
Like you just put it in the mail.
Right. The blasé answer that the writers gave was that there's just a little tube that you just return it to.
Oh, literally drop it in the mail.
Literally, you just, there's a return sleeve, like a fucking coin return. And it was like, this seriously plagues me as a story loophole. I would like to know, how do you return it? Because they wake up with it in a puddle of stellar water. But how do you return it? Because at some point, literally, Thanos then shows up after time and throws Gamora off and then earns it. So Cap has to leave it somewhere, but not get...
Does he go to the little keeper guy of the mountain and be like...
Right. And that's a whole thing all on its own, right? Because the guy who's the guy in the smock is Red Skull. If you recall, Red Skull is the one in the original Captain America movie, right? Red Skull is the one who's grabbing the Tesseract in the plane as he's fighting with, and then he gets pulled up into space.
Yeah.
So what happens when Captain America goes to Vormir to return the Soul Stone and he sees Red fucking Skull?
He's like, oh, good to see you. Yeah. Thanks for my stone.
He's like, oh, I remembered you, Captain America. And he's like, oh, fucking Nazi. And now you guard a stone?
Yeah.
And then what? He hands it to him, and he's like,
here you go.
Thank you, Captain America, for this stone. Now
I will kill somebody else.
Do something, because I got it for free, so fuck you. Like the Germans. I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of...
right?
Yeah.
Nah, I'm not one. It's all comic book fun.
Right.
But
there is a loose end there. You're not going to shove it into the mail slot.
Exactly.
I mean, come on.
And given that someone had actually asked a writer, what they thought, and they kind of just
that's a cheesy answer.
Lowballed it. I went,
can't you just be honest and be like, well, we hadn't thought about that.
Right. I would prefer that than a non-committal blasé fuck off.
Yeah.
You're goddamn. You write for a living.
Just give it to the DHL driver.
Right.
He'll know what to do with it.
The UPS guy. We just primed it.
Yeah.
And it's here.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Huh. Yeah. I would have never even thought of that.
I hadn't until, and I'm a huge. Obviously, if you made it this far.
If you've listened to the last 6 or 7 minutes.
I'm a huge fanboy, and I had not really given it any thought as to how a stone was returned.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Did you go see Black Widow?
I bought it, Disney Plus Premium.
Oh, you did? Okay.
So I overpaid. But again, I was here home all alone and listening to gagging dogs, so I figured, fuck it, yeah, I'm going to watch it.
We had bought tickets for yesterday.
Yeah.
And we haven't been to a movie in a year and 6 or 7 months.
Right, because
easily 8 months.
You care about humanity.
Yeah, because we
and those around you
don't want to kill people and die ourselves.
Right.
But we hadn't been to the movies in forever, and so my wife decided, and Melly really wanted to see it too, and so we're gonna go to the movies. Okay, cool. And so we bought tickets. We go to the movie, and we got the what's the good theater that they have? Not the THX theater. It's the at Cinemark. They have the
X something, isn't it?
Something like that. Yeah. But it's it's like the audio is really cool, and that's really awesome unto itself. But like partway through the movie, one of the speakers in the theater just was going and just doing this constantly, just like in that kind of cadence for the rest of the movie.
Oh boy.
For the rest of the movie. And so it's like, at first you're kind of like, is that part of them? Is that something that's happening? Because it seemed to like coincide with something that was going on screen. And it's like, oh, that's a weird sound that they have built into this movie for this part.
Right.
And then it just sort of continues, and it's like, oh, that's so what, they can still hear it?
Is that the pig farting? Like, what's going on there?
And then at some point you're like, something's not right.
Right.
Like it's and like if there was a lot of action going on and it got real loud, it would sort of drown out the ticking sound. And then there would be like a quiet scene with some very low music and like talking, and then it's just going.
Oh boy! And
it was and it was loud, and especially when it was a quiet scene, it got super loud. And then I was like, "Fuck! What do I do? I need to go complain? Like I don't want to miss. I paid for the movie. I don't want to miss the movie.
Like I haven't been to a fucking movie in over a year.
But
like
now
what the hell?
Like I'm watching the movie. It's now almost everything I can think about is just the fucking tapping going on in the speaker.
Right.
And so I'm like, should I go complain? Do I just get my phone out and call the theater? Be like, hey man,
it's ticking.
I'm in the fucking theater and it sounds like this. And this is fucked up. And I'm like, now I'm going to complain because this is bullshit. It's distracting from the movie. And towards the end of the movie, you see someone go out, and then someone comes back in, and then you see a couple people show up, and then they run across the bottom of the theater, and this happens a couple times, and then they go out, and then the
so
credits,
you haven't said something,
but
someone else probably left.
I think someone left to go complain.
Okay.
And they came back, and then theater people were there.
Right.
And so then, Marvel movies always have shit at the end, so you got to wait.
Right.
And if you're in the theater, you just can't fast forward or whatever.
Right.
So everyone's waiting through the... and it's just doing that incessantly. And then finally, it has the extra scene at the end, and the lights come up, and then they just start handing them out. Because I'm like... I'm going to fucking complain.
Right.
I'm going to get
You're upset.
I'm pissed.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not real pissed, but I'm like upset. And I'm like, I want tickets for another show because that really ruined my experience. Like, that's all I could think about. Like, it was driving me fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And they just start, sorry about the audio, start handing out tickets. And I was like, thank God. You know what I mean? And I think I haven't ever really had that happen. My experience with movie theaters has always been very pleasant.
Right.
But it's my understanding that they will do that fairly liberally if something gets fucked up with the show.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
Well, especially in the current atmosphere where everyone has pretty much a year baked in of being able to on-demand something.
Right.
It is in their best interest, especially if there's something on their end that has gone wrong, to kiss your ass.
Yeah.
To make it right. Right. To a capacity. It loses them nothing, I'm sure, in the long run, to hand you out a voucher where, the ticket price and the average of whatever you're going to pay for the potential concessions where they're making hand over fist and profit, it's probably better for them in the long run to hand you a thing.
I mean, granted, they had like a year plus where they didn't have anything going on
right.
income-wise.
Right.
But at the same time, like that was hard.
Right, they can't. Well, yeah.
To like focus on what dialogue is happening when the speaker right in front of you is tapping incessantly. And, you know, it's almost like, I don't know if the file got corrupt or if they had some equipment issue or whatever, but because that's all it is now is files. They don't even do film anymore.
So without spoiling anything, what did you think of the movie?
I thought it was really good. It was a nice insight to that character.
Right.
That I didn't have
Venus
any
asked me
clue
the
about.
same thing.
Yeah.
She's like, so did you watch it? First off, she gave me shit about watching it. I'm like, fucking, I was here and I worked and you went away to the coast.
Right.
Yeah, I watched a movie without you. I said, I thought it was really good. I was going to like it anyway. I'll be perfectly upfront and honest. I bitched and complained that it was going to be $29.
Right.
Or I think that was the Disney premium thing. I bitched up and down like, no one's going to pay that. Like, why would you pay that? I'll wait till it comes out in September, October for free on Disney Plus. And I bought it. I pre-bought it, I think, Thursday midday, so that way I could watch it at midnight. Don't believe me. As much bitching and moaning as I did, I paid all of that money. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good, same thing. I thought it was a really good backstory for the Black Widow character.
Yeah.
I do think in the timeline in which it was released, it felt pretty out of place given what you know happens to the character.
It's like a prequel.
It is. But it definitely felt like it should have happened
before
she met her end in Endgame.
I mean, as far as the film's concerned, I thought there was a couple like slowish, like what's happening? I feel like we're just waiting for something.
Right.
There was a couple slow spots in it, but I mean,
I thought it was really good. I said, I told Venus without spoiling anything. I said it was somewhere between like the relative to women's issues. I felt it was a little not as weighty as Black Panther as far as African American issues and what Black Panther covers, but not quite as slapstick funny as like a Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
I felt it covered some pretty important women's issues of child trafficking and like stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't as weighty as African American issues in Black Panther, but it was still pretty funny with like some really good humor.
Yeah.
But not quite off the rails as Guardians of the Galaxy, and certainly not as slapsticky funny as Thor Ragnarok.
Right.
Thor Ragnarok was like, and all of those were really good movies.
Yeah.
It was somewhere in between.
Yeah.
I said, of the Marvel movies where I don't watch a lot of, I would probably watch Black Widow before I would probably watch a Captain Marvel again, or even a Doctor Strange again. I said it was pretty entertaining. I'll watch Iron Man movies on repeat without zero concern. But when I go through like the catalog to be like, what do I want to watch that's not an Iron Man movie again? Usually I'll go to like a Guardians of the Galaxy or an Ant-Man.
Yeah.
And then it was pretty close to like an Ant-Man. Ish. I would pick a Black Panther or a Black Widow movie over probably some of the other ones.
Well, being someone who isn't someone who's followed the Marvel stuff really up until recently, like I don't know anything about the comic books or anything like that, or I'm not into it as far as the knowledge that you have. But for me, like personally, it's sort of like, who is Black Widow? You know what I mean? Like you're watching the other films and you're like, well, who is this? I mean, you know that she's like some Russian operative of some kind or whatever, but you don't know like how the hell did she become an Avenger?
Right.
How did she become part of the U.S.? Like,
right.
All that kind of stuff sort of like that gets answered to a certain extent.
Yeah.
And it's very good to know,
All right. Because all of the other Avengers, well, minus Hawkeye, really, like he'd be the last one, but he's going to get a show, right? Mm-hmm. So he's going to get his own series here, even if he's tutoring his replacement. She was really the last Avenger that of significant prominence that hadn't really gotten her own, like, how did you get here? Where'd you come from?
Right.
This does a super large amount of background.
And my understanding of her is that she's not a super soldier.
Nope.
She's just a badass chick, right? So it's like she's an Avenger,
well trained,
with no special things other than just being kick-ass.
Right. Like pretty much like Hawkeye.
Yeah.
She's like vanilla.
Yeah.
But really well trained.
Yeah. Impressive, but it was a good show. There was some, a couple parts that you're like, okay.
Okay.
But what?
Right.
What Marvel movie doesn't have those moments?
And if you're someone that liked Guardians of the Galaxies, the Ant-Mans, the Thor, Ragnarok, you will enjoy.
It was a good movie.
Right. I will watch this movie multiple times.
Right.
Because one, I paid $30 for it. So Daddy needs to get his.
Well, now that I got free tickets, I basically paid for the movie that I just went. I could buy it.
You could watch it. Oh yeah, there you go. It was good. I was fully entertained. I look forward to watching it again with Venus if she wants to watch it, or with Piper when she wants to. Piper and Xander when they want to watch it, and if that's not the same time I watch it with Venus. That's fine with me because I really enjoyed it. I thought all of the characters were really funny.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck it. Watch it. Go ahead. Go to the movies or put the $30 down. Especially if you enjoyed any of those other movies, you will have a good time.
Well, plus my daughter and my wife are, especially my daughter's like, oh, she's a badass. She's this.
Oh, yeah, she takes
that.
no shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
My daughter likes to say, okay, queen.
Yeah. I'm fucking smacks her nose. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know too many dudes that do that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So, home improvement things.
Uh-oh. What do you got?
So, my family, obviously, as I've discussed earlier, was away.
Yeah.
Most of the weekend.
Yeah.
In like most typical fashion of our last show where you're like, I'm just looking to coast a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Like, what could possibly go wrong? Well, hey, how about you deal with some gagging dogs for the weekend? I'm like, oh, whatever. So my family returns Monday evening. Tuesday morning, my wife, who plies me with a bucket of hot tamales, then, like, as she's leaving, she decides to tell me the kitchen sink is backed up and not draining.
Oh, no.
And I went, great. Well, I just had a show.
Well, you go do your thing.
She's like, she like had like a jug of Drano.
Uh-huh.
She's like, do you want me to use this? And I went, I
haven't looked at it.
I don't even know if that would do. I have no idea what's going on.
Right.
I'm just happy to be here.
Oh, you have something else for me to do?
Yeah. Fucking. And it's not.
Was it from the dogs?
Yeah. Did the dog puke in it? Is there a paper towel? Can I pull something from someone's anus? Like, what's... Great. So, and anyway. So, I decide then Tuesday evening, I have to look at the sink because it's not draining.
Yeah.
Now, the last time I gave any care or concern to the sink and the traps in the kitchen was you'd probably have to dial back the clock to 5+ something years when my dad tried to like frappe 10 pounds of crab shells because he thought, hey, you got a home renovation, so you clearly replaced your disposal with something that's run by a small diesel, right? So let me put this 10 pounds of crab shells in here. And newsflash, it didn't go well. It didn't go well and it didn't work. So I was cleaning up crab shells from my disposal. Anyway, So I hadn't really cleaned out or done anything with my traps.
Yeah.
You should probably put that on a maintenance
list
thing. Because what ended up happening was, as I got my trap out, I pulled my main trap of the kitchen sink out. It had some stuff in it, but it wasn't really that bad.
Yeah.
So I have a big kitchen drain that then is tapped into by the smaller sink that has the garbage disposal. And that all drains into the main trap. So I was confused, like as I took it all apart, cleaned out the main trap, and went, well, that doesn't really seem...
So wait, you have 2 drains, right?
2 drains that all go into a single trap.
So what was not draining, both? Or
they would back each other up.
Okay.
So I went for the single point of failure, the main trap.
Right, okay.
So I clean it, and by the trap, that is typically the large U that represents like where the bulk of the debris gets caught. So I pull that off. There's some stuff in it, but something...
And I'm sure it smelled really good.
Oh, it was absolutely the most effervescent aroma that you can imagine. It was like peaches and cinnamon and not decaying ass.
And bear scat.
Yeah. It was horrible. Anyway... But it wasn't substantial enough and I'll admit my first reaction was, this should not be happening. Yeah. So, but I cleaned it out.
What, because the trap wasn't really clogged?
Right.
Okay.
So I put it all back together. I run hot water again, and I run the disposal, and it all starts like running like it would, and gave it about 7 seconds, which was probably 2 more seconds than I would have thought. And it starts to backfill both drains again. And I went, oh, wait, what? Why? This no. I cleaned it. We're good.
Yeah.
Turn the drain off, but it's still...
So now it sounds like the problem is before the trap.
Right.
Okay.
So, okay, is it that the disposal is whipping air into and throwing stuff? Okay, fine. So, redrain it again, because again, you get to keep in mind that the sink has semi-filled, so now I've got to bowl of water as I loosen the trap and then dump it outside because it stinks like a bear scat.
But the water can come out from the trap into the bucket, right? Like you pull the trap off.
I pull the trap.
The water will drain out from the sink?
Yes. Slowly, but it does drain.
Okay, so there's something.
So I do get it to drain if I pull the trap off.
Right.
So I know, okay, but... To me now, at this point, there's a flow problem.
Yeah.
But I can't quite picture where it would be because the trap is usually where all the business is.
Uh-huh.
All right, fine. So reset. Pull the trap off. Everything is fully drained. And I start undoing all the other connections that go between the sinks themselves. Because like I said, everything comes to a union and then it goes to the trap.
Right.
So... I disassemble the garbage disposal, and really that's where it hits me, and my wife finally looks down and sees what I'm working at, is what would be described as, if you've watched any news of the troubles that the UK is having, and they're dubbing the Fatberg.
Uh-huh.
I have a clogged artery of grease schmitz that goes between the line of the garbage disposal as it drops into the main line that comes from the other sink.
Uh-huh.
I have found the demons, except as I pull this thing off, it is all the way through this probably 6 inches of union between the 2 sink drains. Fucking great. And if I thought the smell of the trap was bad... Now I'm digging out this thing with, absolute. Hey, the dogs are gagging. I'm gagging. Everyone is fucking gagging. It is not pleasant. Clean it out. Good to go. I clean out all of the disposal piping, all of the main sink piping. Good to go. Feeling pretty confident. Turn on the hot water. 5, 7. Cool. All right. 10 seconds. Starts filling back up again. Okay, motherfuckers.
What the heck?
So now I've got a problem because I have literally, from the main trap.
Yeah.
Fuck, we are way over time. The main trap, all the way up to the drains themselves, I have completely rotor-rootered and sandblasted the entire drain.
Oh, no.
So now
now it's beyond.
Now it's beyond the trap, and it's something that's going into the... Oh, fuck. Of course, I don't have a plumber snake.
Yeah.
I have to go to Home Depot. I'm going to get a plumber snake. I leave, go and get a plumber snake. Come back. I punish.
You do what good dudes are good at.
Punish that pipe. Punish it. Then I throw some like Drano gel in there, and then I pre-Drano the trap. I put some in there, and then I put it all back together. And then I'm like, well, I want hot water straight out the gate. So I get a 5-gallon bucket, and in the tub, I'm filling up a bucket full of hot water. And then I turn the water, and I start draining it, and I get about 15 seconds, and it starts filling up again. And I went, I am really fucking sick, because now we're beyond me as a DIY plumber.
Yeah.
Because I put 15 feet of snake in this bitch.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
Cranking it around, getting it to like rotor-rooter.
Right.
Yeah. And then I Drano, and it's still starting to backfill on me. Oh, fuck. Fuck me. So I clogged the main sink with like the sink stopper.
Uh-huh.
And I turn on the disposal to like create some
push.
Yeah. And I'm like, if this doesn't work.
When in doubt, turn on the disposal.
When in doubt. If this doesn't work, all that money that I was going to spend on vet bills this weekend, I get to spend on a plumber.
Yeah.
And I let that thing go like 5, 6, 7. This is not working for me. 8, 9, 10. And the sink starts draining. And I went, bitches! Because finally, I think the Drano and the hot water, along with the push pressure of the inertia of the water coming out of the disposal, had finally it had broken up enough that it had finally allowed free. And so then I'm like, okay, we'll reset, another bucket of water, free flowing. Happy as a clam. So then I told the Venus, I'm like, we are going to Drano. This is our message. We're going to Drano every sink in this house right now, because wherever that thing went, we need to break it up the entire way out of this fucking factory.
We want to Drano all the way to the fucking
all the
sink.
drains. I will empty every single can of Drano we've got in here into every single drain to make sure we're good to go.
How many gallons did you buy?
Yeah, we used the rest of the can. We forgot it at the grocery store. But I Dranoed everything.
Yeah.
And we're good now.
Oh, my gosh.
But it was quite funny. And the whole thing stemmed from... We're okay. The whole thing stemmed from, as I was telling Venus, as we
Artichoke dip.
Right. I cleaned the grease. I put it in a cup. That was the thing. I'm like, fuck, I would feel really bad. So here's what I told Venus last night. I'm like, the last couple weeks, I'd been meaning on the show to bring up a topic. And that topic was, tell me a pet peeve that you have in the house that probably everyone else in the house doesn't know that you have.
Oh, gosh. I would have to come back for that one.
Okay. So here, I had one on deck because obviously I was prefacing.
Yeah.
So here's what it was. As someone that has worked in food service, particularly as a dishwasher and a busboy, I have washed and plungered a number of sinks and traps. I have cleaned out a number of things from sinks and traps. That is part of the job as a dishwasher. You're the bottom rung. So when I come to a sink that needs to have dishes washed that doesn't have some sort of strainer in it, immediately I think, well, how long has this been this way? Because there is shit that's probably gone into the sink that is going to clog stuff up. So I have my pet peeve, as I was telling Venus last night, I'm like, I didn't even get a chance. And what are the odds that last show we would talk about these funny little things that nickel and dime you?
Yeah.
I'm like, here's my pet peeve. It is to come across a sink that doesn't have some form of a strainer in it at all times. at all times, because you never know when you're going to throw something into the sink that a small diced carrot or an onion or a piece of broccoli or a piece of meat or a piece of bacon or grease or is not going to get strained that will add to the blockage in your trap.
Right.
And as someone that has worked in food service that has cleaned out tons of trap, and as someone on Tuesday had to fucking and throw 15 feet of a plumber snake into a drain and clean out his own family's fatberg. The struggle is real.
Yeah.
You should always have a strainer of some sort.
At least there weren't flushable wipes in there.
Right. Oh, and that's the thing, too, because she was saying the city of Roseville had sent us, that was topical. City of Roseville was sent us a thing. I don't know if you got one.
Oh, I'm sure.
It was like it's a scraper where they're telling you to stop, to scrape your grease and put it in a jar or something and then throw that away. Don't clean a bacon or a greasy dish in your sink.
Yeah, I don't.
You want to scrape off as much grease as you can, lard or whatever, as it congeals. You want to put that in the trash.
I wait for that stuff to cool, and then I put it in a Ziploc.
So,
honestly.
There you go. That was my pet peeve. And here is your reminder. Check your traps. Do a Drano before every 5 years. It's probably in your best interest because the smell, I guarantee you, you don't want to be in there.
Oh, the bathrooms too.
Hey, I have a strong stomach, and that fatberg was not pleasant.
I got slow drains in the master right now, so you know.
Yeah, the hair tarantulas that don't make it to the walls but make it down the drains.
Yeah.
You know, do the Drano.
Yeah.
You know, and keep your sink strainers in.
Do it.
And there you go.
Yeah.
Return the cart.
Wash your ass.
Wash your hands.
Wear the mask.
And do the kindness.
And
get the shot.
Get the shot.
You're off. I mean,
off.
You didn't say blow the weasel or something.
Wash your face.
Yeah, wash your face and pick your nose. And shave your balls. Don't forget to manscape. We'll catch you next week.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye.